Ladies and gentlemen, we're reading Psalms chapter 1 to 3. It says, "The Lord hear you in the day of trouble. The name of the Lord of Jacob defend you, and send you help from the sanctuary, and strengthen you out of Zion. And remember all your offerings, and accept your burnt sacrifice. Selah. May he grant you according to your own heart, and fulfill all your counsel." So, I just wanted to read that for you. It's a blessing for you today. And let's get into something I'm really itching to talk about here. And that is the sequence of events in Zack Snyder's DCEU trilogy. And I'm not really specifically going to talk about sequence of events, but just some things I've noticed. So the first thing you'll notice here is the logos. The logo for Man of Steel, which was the first of the trilogy, which you see right here. The logo is this big symbol of hope, which looks like an S in a shield. And what's interesting is this carries on as a symbol in the logo of Batman v Superman. Of course, Superman's logo is inside of the Batman logo, which is really awesome. Batman v Superman. Of course, the part you can't see here is Dawn of Justice. All right? Which leads us to Justice League, which is the last of the trilogy. You can't see the entire poster, which is a pity, but nonetheless, there it is. And Justice League has a star between an I and the C. It has a star there, which is very interesting. So we started off with Batman and Superman, and now we have all the members of the Justice League here. Well, almost all of them. There's one missing. And let's move on to just looking at some very interesting symbologies. Here is Batman. You see his two hands crossed and folded. And here you see Superman, his two hands crossed and folded. The interesting difference between the two is Batman seems like a sort of brooding, troubled figure here. Whereas Superman, while he is troubled as well, he seems to be there to bring about understanding. So the difference between Batman and Superman is Batman lacks the understanding. He thinks he understands what is going on. And Superman, on the other hand, he's trying to reconcile with mankind and bring about peace between himself and mankind as much as he can. He's at mankind's service here. Very powerful being sequestered and interrogated by mankind. And then we have the additional figure, Diana. She jumps into the mix in Batman v Superman. This is the Dawn of Justice part, where Diana jumps into the mix. She is ready and able, with her sword drawn and her shield, to wage battle against any adversity that faces mankind. She will join forces with all who are interested in defending mankind and protecting them. That is her job. That's what she was born to do. That's what she was created to. So we have the third member of the League there. And then when we see Justice League once again, which will be coming up, remember that was the Dawn of Justice, Batman v Superman. Well, here is the Justice League, which is being formed, and this is sort of maybe probably near to the end of the movie, where we see them all assembled together as a team. And if I just do this, here we can see all the members here. Diana again being there. Superman's dead. Batman is there. And then we have Cyborg, the Flash, and Aquaman. But all of these things you guys do know. This is the part I love. This harkens back to the first two posters we just saw. Though Justice League itself, the logo itself, doesn't have anything to do with Superman or Batman, because it's about a league, it's about a collective more than any one person, I love this poster the most. Because this poster harkens back to the very first poster we saw of Man of Steel, where we had the shield, Superman being highlighted. Again, in Batman v Superman, this carries on, showing that it is somewhat of a sequel to Man of Steel, the shield of Superman seen inside of Batman. And what this poster harkens back to, which is what makes it one of my favorite posters, it's not my favorite poster, Justice League poster, my favorite Justice League poster, I'll show you what that is. But this poster really, in terms of meaning and in terms of the trilogy and what Zack Snyder was choosing to do, this poster really symbolizes just about everything you could ever have and showing you that this is all threaded together because of Superman. And this poster has the shield of Superman in it. Alright, that's the beautiful part. Not only does it have the shield of Superman in it, but Superman's kind of like a ghost or the light. He's kind of the enlightened one who's basically pulling this league together. He's the reason why Batman's even pulling the team together. And you can see the silhouette of Superman here. Of course, the symbol is in the center of the league. And of course, what does Superman symbolize? He's a savior, so he symbolizes the word save. There's just a lot this poster is saying without having to say that much in words. And so, to me, this poster encapsulates these first two posters because it's basically telling a narrative or a story. The first one is the birth of Superman. You see him flying into the sky. We learn about the origins of Superman, and we learn about how he becomes the savior of mankind. And you literally see Superman soaring upwards, as in inspiration, hope, what the symbol actually symbolizes. It's an excellent poster. This second poster tells you the outcome of Batman v Superman, that Superman will be embedded in the chest, in the heart of Batman. Hope will be embedded in the heart of Batman. And this literally carries on to Batman forming the Justice League, which leads us to this poster. And if you look at this poster, you can see Batman. He is the one trying to pull together the Justice League. He said he would not fail Superman in death, and so he is fulfilling his promise. A very hopeful Batman. And this Batman, if you look at him, he's watching directly at the line save, because Batman's purpose is to defend Earth and save it from what impending disaster is coming its way. And he's pulled together this team. Barry Allen, of all people, has Superman as his hero. This is the one he looked up to all of his life. He heard about Batman, and he's a fan of Batman as well as all the Justice League members. But Superman has a big impact in Barry Allen's life, and you can see it in his Flash cave, or his little Flash hidden away lab, where you see Superman's symbol in the background, right? So Superman is his inspiration. So it's not surprising that Barry's pointing to Superman's shield, and he's also pointing to Superman at the same time. And he's also pointing to the word save at the same time, even though Barry Allen, he's really symbolizing. And you can see this is great because this is basically telling you what each member can do. Barry Allen's the you in this situation. He's the fanboy. He's the one that'll fanboy out about the Justice League. Barry Allen is seeing things through your eyes. You're seeing things through Barry Allen's eyes. Okay, so that's what I love about this poster. The second one, which is Cyborg, can't. Basically, it's cool because Cyborg can do just about anything when it comes to technology. So it's just going to be awesome to see what Cyborg does and how he works. He's going to have a pivotal role in the Justice League, of course. Superman's the savior. The is the Batman. Batman is the one trying to make the teams come together. That is a doing word. And of course, world has to do with Wonder Woman because she's there to basically enlighten the world about love and hopefully encourage the world down a path of love and peace. And of course, alone has to do with Aquaman. Well, Aquaman, his motive is the strong man, he stands alone. So it's not surprising that Aquaman has the alone part of the word. So again, I just love how this poster was well thought out, in my opinion, and really an excellent poster. And even the posture of the different superheroes is quite amazing. And even the size of them is also amazing. Why they did, different sizes of the icons. Because it's probably going to tell you a little bit about what each icon's role in the movie is also all about. So anyway, I like this because it follows up with these two. All right, and Superman is in that theme throughout this trilogy. This is a Superman movie, and that's why I said Zack Snyder, he really loves Superman because he's done 3 consecutive Superman movies. There are 3 movies, 2 sequels, but yet these movies are not Superman, they're not Man of Steel sequels. There's going to be Man of Steel 1, Man of Steel 2, probably Man of Steel 3 in the future. It's exclusively dedicated to Superman, but in this case, these are, it's almost a metamorphosis, an evolution of the ideology of Superman. Remember, in the beginning, the first Superman movie, Jarella told him that you're going to give them an ideal to strive towards, and they'll stumble and fall, but they will join you in the sun. And this is so amazing, but the evolution of this, the prophetic evolution of this is actually coming to pass, where they are actually joining Superman in his absence, by the way, in the sun. And it's so amazing that, you know, people value things when they're gone, and Batman values Superman when he's gone, and that spurred on Batman to start to form the Justice League. And what's kind of amazing is that Superman will join them as well, you know, in the sun. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all finishes off and pans out. So here we have almost the entire cast. There's still someone missing from this cast. It's Unite the Seven, not the Six. So there is a seventh member of the Justice League that we are definitely going to see some point in time in the movie. But of this moment, this is just awesome to see all six of them here. You got Superman, you got Batman, you got the Flash, you got Wonder Woman, you got Aquaman, and you got Cyborg as the actors who actually play them in the movie. It's really cool to see them all just chilling out together. And here they are. This is my favorite poster, and it reminds me of Alex Ross's paintings of the Justice League. It's beautifully done. I love the colors. I love everything about this poster. This poster is, in my opinion, the best representation of any poster for the Justice League. This is the best poster ever. All the other posters looked Photoshop and stuff. This thing looked like a work of art. I love it, every inch of it. I mean, Cyborg could have been done a little bit better, but other than that, I love everything here. And I'm looking forward to the Justice League movie. How about you guys? But I'm not going to spoil myself watching at things that give away the plot or the story of the movie or some key highlight scene. I don't want to spoil it because, and I advise you guys, if you haven't seen any of those spoilery parts or anything that's spoilery about the movie, don't spoil it. Don't spoil that. Save that for yourself. You know, sometimes people somehow get access to videos because somebody videotaped something where they shouldn't have and they put it up online. Don't spoil yourself. I know you're going to resist the temptation to go spoil yourself because it takes away from it. I remember watching full clips and scenes of Wonder Woman, and it really did take away some of that beauty of the movie. Have a little bit of reservation, have a little bit of self-control, and conserve yourself. Wait for the movie to come out. You will not regret it. I am pretty sure this movie is going to be awesome and spectacular for a lot of you guys. You're going to have a ball with it. Enjoy yourself, but put it away. You delay your gratification so you can see the entire movie. I know you're avaricious. You want to see stuff. Any new thing that comes out of Justice League, you want to see it. It's not really that. It's not that important. It's better you see the entire movie. So that's what I'm going to tell you guys. I'm definitely, as I said, I'm stepping away from anything that seems spoilery. I have not spoiled myself at Thor Ragnarok. I have not spoiled myself at Blade Runner. When I hear people talking about spoiler reviews and stuff, I have not watched it. I haven't seen those movies. When I see those movies, I'll put out a review. Then I'll put out a spoiler review. I'll put spoilers in big so that you don't go watching my review. And go watch the movie first and then come back and watch my spoiler reviews. So that's how I'll do it. I'm going to stay true to these movies. Thor Ragnarok, I've heard a lot about it. I've heard a lot of people's comments about the movie, but they haven't spoiled it for me, so that's great. I'll go in there, have my own opinion of Thor Ragnarok. I'll go in there, have my own opinion of Blade Runner. I haven't gone and seen Blade Runner or Thor Ragnarok as yet. But I'll get to seeing those movies in the cinema. I'm not going to go see those movies on DVD or digital until I've seen them on the big screen. Those are movies I want to see on the big screen. I'm definitely going to probably go try to get the best resolution Justice League movie I can see, the best resolution Thor Ragnarok I can see, and the best resolution Blade Runner I can see. I'm going to try and get the best quality I can with these movies. If they're not showing on IMAX in my country, then I'll go see them in 3D. I just hope it'll be good quality stuff. And you know, sometimes cinemas, when they realize people are not going to see a movie much, they take down the quality of their videos and stuff. I'm hoping they don't do that for me, because I want it in the best possible quality and the best possible experience I can get with these movies. I think the directors and at least they would like us to see it in the best possible resolution. I think, I hope, I think Joss Whedon and Danny Elfman are going to do an excellent job in terms of the quality of movie you're seeing, more Hollywood style. It's going to approach, not as much indie. And I think also that with Justice League, the resolution, the lighting of the movie is going to be just good enough so I can actually see all the details in the movie that I really want to see. You know, when they talk about high resolution and IMAX, and I'm going to certain cinemas to see all the different shades of colors in between the darkness in Batman v Superman, which I kind of missed. Even my digital copy of Batman v Superman doesn't show me every single detail of the movie. You know, there's a lot of the movie you still can't see because it's kind of still too dark. And I heard when you get it in HD format, HDR, high definition resolution format, you actually see all the details. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all the details in the darkness. And if you can't do that, because the average movie viewer, if they can't see it in certain formats, they shouldn't be at a loss for some of the beautiful things in the movie. And that's all I'm saying. You make a movie, you spend so much time in a movie with all these subtleties and nuances, you really want people to see all that. And the problem with some of these movies is you don't see all the detail. You know, in Wonder Woman, I made a certain comment, which Patty Jenkins probably saw online, which was that sometimes I couldn't see all the detail in the dark areas of Wonder Woman, where she was leaping to the tower, for instance, on Themyscira. I couldn't see all the details. I love seeing details of things. Whether it's dark or not, you want to see the details. But I love Wonder Woman. I still think it's a heck of a movie. I don't think it's better than Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. That's my personal opinion. Different people have different opinions on it. But at the end of the day, I loved it. I was glad it got universal acceptance, and I'm hoping and wishing and praying for Justice League to have the same. I know Joss Whedon. He's done this dance 100 million times, so he'll know what to do to edit the movie appropriately, fill in spots. And Danny Elfman's done this dance 100 million times. Trust me. I just hope his soundtrack is good. I know they haven't put out the best stuff of the movie, and I've seen and I've listened to the music and everything that accompanies those movies. And I know it has to be at a certain standard. So, and the picture quality, I hope, also is at a certain standard that Zack had started setting. Because Zack set a certain standard for DCEU movies. And even Patty Jenkins didn't really waver too much from that, which is beautiful. So, hopefully, it stays in the tone of Zack Snyder. I thought that Joss Whedon did an excellent job of not veering away from the color palette that Zack did. He just sort of added to it. And I thought it balanced out things and also made certain things very clear. The problem I have is when he sometimes overdoes it and adds these purple. I just don't like the purple stuff. I don't know it grates on my last nerve. Maybe in the movie it won't affect me that bad, but I just can't. I can't stand the purple stuff, and I can't stand certain things which remind me that it's CGI. Like my brain does not see CGI. I can kind of look over CGI when the depth perception and the color palette fits in with the world that I'm looking at. Then I get lost in the story and I don't really study CGI. But if you do psychedelics on me, like Guardians of the Galaxy, I knew that was CGI all the way through. It felt like a fantasy world. It was a fantasy world. Justice League is not a fantasy world per se. It's a grounded world in which you have these people who can do some fantastic stuff. You know what I'm saying? When Danny Elfman worked together with Tim Burton on Batman Returns, it was a fantastical world as well, but it was still rooted and grounded in reality. People were getting killed and stuff like that. Especially the Batman Returns, which I love. I think it's better than Batman 1989. I think the best Batman is Batman Returns, to be honest with you. Michelle Pfeiffer did a spectacular job playing Catwoman, and Danny DeVito did an excellent job of playing a deranged penguin. So I really love that movie. It's near and dear to my heart. And I was a teenager at the time I saw it, and I just rewatched it recently. And yes, the buildings have this grotesquely elongated structures, and they're just kind of massive, sort of towery things. But even so, besides the just the exaggerated length of the buildings, I really get caught up in the realism of the movie because the movie was so graphically violent, and the nature of the people was so real to me, that I absolutely bought into the story. And these are the kinds of things. Once you set a tone for the world you're in, it's okay. But if your tone of the world, if it suddenly changes for some reason, something behaves out of character with the tone of the world, we can have some problems, you know. So, but I know that we're dealing with different, just like with Wonder Woman, we're dealing with different environments. So you're going to have the undersea environment. We're going to have the city environment. We're going to have the apocalyptic world environment. You know, there are different tones, different environments, with different characters. You're going to have a different feel for the different environments. So I understand that. So sometimes you're all the way up in Iceland. Next minute, you're all the way in the city. So you're going to have different color palettes for different things. So I understand why Danny Elfman had the liberties to do this purple thing that I saw at the end of the movie, because it's maybe a transitional state into forming a apocalyptic world, for instance. So it makes sense. But I just couldn't take the purple. It's just the purple. Like it's so crazy. It's one small thing could throw you off from a movie sometimes. You know, because you know that Zack Snyder would have probably put so much blue color palette on that thing, so much blue tone on that thing, it wouldn't have looked like that color, you know. So, you know, they'll tweak it, I guess. But it looks grand. It still looks fantastic. It's a little cleaner. It's a little bit clearer because of the color palette that they used. They slightly tweak the blue color palette. I'm seriously looking forward to this movie. I even like that they kind of put more color into some of the characters' costumes. You know, like Batman doesn't wear a black. Well, he sometimes wears a black costume, but he's wearing a blue costume, which is just so different. That reminds me of the Batman from Super Friends and from some other comics. So it's just, man, I am so excited to see what they do with this movie. And it's just 2 more weeks, guys. It's November 1st today. 2 more weeks, and then we got Justice League, guys. So just hold on to your clothes. And we're going to make it to Justice League. And then after that, you know, we're going to have a good old time. We're going to have a good old time. I know all of you guys are going to come back after watching Justice League. You're going to be big smiles on your faces. I know what's going to happen. You know, because everybody's got these concerns. Man, the DCU fans, man, I don't know if we like this movie, man. It looked like they just moving completely away from what Zack Snyder's vision was. No. They're not moving away. The story is integrally Zack's story. They cut out too much of the movie. I know all the concerns people have. This movie's gonna be awesome, man. It's gonna be off the chain. Let's just see if Warner Bros. Can get universal reception for the movie. That almost everybody likes it. You're gonna have some haters out there that are gonna hate on the movie still. But let's see if we can get universal reception of this movie. And how does this 3rd chapter in the trilogy of Zack Snyder's DCEU run with Superman, how does it finally end up? You know, honestly, I don't know if it can top Batman v Superman. I just don't think so. But hey, you never know. You never know. It's a continuing story, so we'll see. All right. One more thing I want to talk about. You know, Henry Cavill, he said that the DCEU, critically speaking, has had a rough and rocky road, and it seems as though they're finally getting their footing with Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman is moving in the right direction. I think he's right. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, we are DCEU fans. We liked it, but not everyone loved. I loved it, actually. I loved every single movie. I loved it, including Suicide Squad. I didn't think it was a bad movie. And so, as a result of that, not everybody's like us. Not everybody bought into the DCEU like that. Some people just hate the DCEU. They're haters of the DCEU. That doesn't mean they're not. Because Suicide Squad started turning things around. So after Batman v Superman, even though Suicide Squad got bashed, a lot of people and people who supposedly were being very critical of the DCEU, they turned around and actually enjoyed Suicide Squad. I heard a lot of people saying Suicide Squad was great and all that stuff. So it's not so much that Henry Cavill is talking about, the critical reception of the DCEU. I think he's talking about more so. I'm sorry, the audience reception of the DCEU. I think he's more so talking about the critical reception of the DCEU. Wonder Woman turned things around, and so they're trying to. Warner Brothers is trying to get that step where they get universal acceptance of Justice League. This is what they're shooting for. Okay? Zack started the ball rolling, but now they want to keep this thing going after Patty Jenkins really showed them this is how you do it. So I think that's what they're trying to get. And they're still trying to tell the stories the way how they want to tell the stories. Okay? I think a lot of people really think, even when you hear Henry Cavill say that, the way they were trying to do things a little bit differently didn't work. I would say that that I know why he's saying that. He's trying to sell Justice League. So they're gonna. I remember Jeff Johns saying the same thing for Wonder Woman, the same thing for Batman v Superman after Man of Steel, and so on. I get it. But what I'm saying is, and they're saying, well, we hear you. But what I want to say is, though, that hopefully the DCEU keeps themselves separate. It's not just all hee hee ha ha. I hate hee hee ha ha. I really do. I don't even know why I'm going to watch Thor Ragnarok, because I don't like laughing. That's why I stayed away from comic book movies, right? I told you guys this like 100 million times. So I'm not really a hee hee ha ha kind of guy. So what I'm really going in to see a movie for is value. It makes no sense going into a movie if... Alright, let me put it to you this way. When I saw Man of Steel, I watched that thing 6 times in the theater. And I'm talking about IMAX. I mean, I didn't spare money. I did not spare a dime to go see that thing in the cinemas a number of times. Will Justice League be able to do that? Wonder Woman didn't do that for me. Batman v Superman, it did it for me. Is Justice League the kind of film where you will want to rewatch it over and over? A guy like me would want to rewatch it over and over and over again. I don't know. Zack is known for not just doing action flicks. He has some kind of nutritive value in what he does. He's not a Michael Bay. Let's just put it that way. So, with Joss Whedon's involvement in Justice League, will that sort of dilute down what Zack was trying to do? Because Zack's an indie director. There's no ifs or buts about that. He's an indie director, and he always puts something in there that will offend you. Is that not going to be a part of this Justice League movie here? Because Joss Whedon and the kind of Hollywood way of doing movies is going to be in this movie. So that's the thing that has me thinking. Because the indie voice in Hollywood is quite limited. And maybe Zack had this indie voice that Hollywood just didn't like. It made them very angry. And they're trying to dilute down what Zack is doing. Because Zack always has a message in all of his movies. And I'm wondering if, once again, they're going to compromise his voice. And they're going to give a spectacle, no doubt. And again, the dumbass casual fans, they're going to just gulp it up and be like, yeah, it's a great movie. But really, there's no nutritive value. It's just like a Marvel film. That is my greatest worry. Honestly. I go into the movie. It's a spectacle. I watch it once. I don't need to see it again. Zack fills things with Easter eggs. He does all kinds of crazy things. The only reason I go in to see a movie 10 times is because every time I go in, I see something else. Batman v Superman there's still stuff in Batman v Superman I'm seeing to this day. But that happened with Justice League. So that's my question. Can Justice League be... I know it was intended to be a straightforward film, but is there nutritive value in Justice League? That will be my question. AT&T has bought out Warner Brothers stock. They're advertising everywhere, left, right, and center now. Did they water down the film? Did Zack Snyder's vision truly come to the screen? That's what a lot of people are going to ask. Because if there's one thing about Zack Snyder I've learned, is he's very deep. A lot of people want to trivialize him and say, oh, he's not deep. That's Hollywood lashing back because he doesn't do things Hollywood's way. But at the end of the day, I respect Zack Snyder as a man. I feel for him for the death of his daughter. That is a horrible thing to happen to someone. Hopefully it wasn't an assassination by somebody in Hollywood or whatever, in the lashbacks to make sure that Zack Snyder left. Whatever it be, I just want Zack Snyder to know, because I know he's a fan of comics and everything, and he does not mean any harm to anybody. But I want Zack Snyder to know that I really appreciated what he did for me in terms of Man of Steel and in terms of Batman v Superman. And Man of Steel was the best thing that ever happened in terms of cinema for me, because I didn't think much of it. And then I got hyped about that movie when I heard, I know I've said this 100 million times, but when Henry Cavill said to, when he said to the actor who was playing Louis Lane, it's not an S on my planet, it means hope. You don't understand how deep that was. And now all of these other Superman people, they're doing as if, you know, it was always known that Superman's S on his chest was hope. Oh, shut up. And it's not even an S, it's a glyph. You know what I'm saying? And they captured the essence of Superman in Man of Steel. That's the beauty of this thing, man. They captured what it was. And finally, we watched a whole set of Christopher Reeve movies and all of that, and we always thought it was an S on his chest, because they never said it was a glyph, it was a hope. This is the first time, thanks to Christopher Nolan, David Goyer, and Zack Snyder, we actually understood that this shield here wasn't an S, it was a glyph called hope, because they actually gave a good background for Superman. They actually told you about Krypton. You know, it's just amazing how shallow people can be. People condemned Man of Steel. Oh, it wasn't hopeful. Oh, it was a bad thing. Superman killed the General Zod. Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, all of these jackasses learned so much about the mythology of Superman that they never knew before. It was such an enlightening film, but because of hate, because people felt, oh, Marvel films are better than DC and we need to bash DC. To this day, they still try to bash DC. For giving you knowledge that you now talk about. Everybody's, oh, Superman's an alien. Everybody talks about Superman being an alien now after Man of Steel. You know what I'm saying? And even to hear sometimes some other people talk about how, you know, Henry Cavill's Superman is not as good and getting universal praise as Tom Hockland's Superman. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Do you even understand how much education you got from watching Man of Steel? Do you understand what you just saw? You know? And so it's like, man, it's like so, like these people are so stupid, you know? Sometimes you just want to smack them with the back of your hand, you know what I mean? Because it gets a certain rating on Rotten Tomatoes, because certain critics who are shallow-minded, obviously, and focused on things which already happened in the comic books because they don't read comics. Superman snaps General Zod's neck, which is nothing new, okay? He's killed General Zod. Almost in every encounter he's had with General Zod, he's killed him, okay? The only thing is, y'all get asphyxiated with Richard Donner's Superman from the 1970s and 1980s, and all of a sudden, he should have flown away and let General Zod chase him. Like, dude, General Zod was on a revenge. General Zod wasn't going to chase Superman. Superman had to chase down General Zod to stop him. Because General Zod was on a revenge treaty. He was going to kill every single human being on the earth. He wasn't interested in kneel before Zod like back in the day. He wasn't one of those open and closed shut cases where he was just power hungry and one dimensional. The General Zod you found out about in Man of Steel was the General Zod who wanted to save his people. He was a much more complex villain than that stupid General Zod iteration that was back in the 70s. And I say it's stupid because, well, Patty Jenkins may admire that, Jeff Johns and all these other guys. Truth be told, the story was just way too simple. And a person like myself, it's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous story. And Zack Snyder took Superman's story. Well, he didn't really take it. It was really David Goyer that made it. And up to this day, David Goyer gets a lot of hate. Oh, he doesn't understand the characters and stuff. David Goyer gets a lot of hate. The dude did a lot of research. All right, they praised him for the Dark Knight trilogy, which, to be honest with you, that veers much further away from the Batman ideology. They praise him for that, and yet they condemn him for bringing a really true to the comics Superman? Are you serious? So it's this kind of stupidity that we have to deal with in the world today. People praise things which are bad, and they condemn things which are authentic and true. And I've seen this in boxing. I've seen this in sport. I've seen this in entertainment. It's just one of those things where you just watch it. I've heard people say that Joss Whedon, he really understands comic book characters. Zack Snyder doesn't. And I'm like, dude, shut up. You know, you just want to smack these people around, man. You just want to hit them a good slap. You know what I'm saying? If you feel the same way I do, then that's cool. Because I read comics, man. I've read comics from way back in the 80s. Some comics I've got from the 70s. I recently got back into comics. I read the New Rebirth series, some of them. I've read also the New 52 series. New 52 series is okay too. I like some of the stories in the New 52. But really, even the series before that, they were really dope. And it's just one of those things where, as you get into comics, you realize how much they delve into so many different topics. Not so much the Rebirth series these days, but nonetheless, they delve into so many different topics, you know what I'm saying? And so, hey, I'm just saying, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. If you haven't read any Cyborg comics, I recommend you read some Cyborg comics. Cyborg is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool character. And it's just so interesting. He's always evolving, like I said before. Anyway, on that note, I've talked enough for the morning. You guys have a great one. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what else you want me to cover. Any suggestions you have, feel free to suggest. Don't forget you can donate to my channel. Simply inbox my channel and ask me how to donate. It's by two means, either Western Union or MoneyGram. You can donate to me, and feel free to do so, man. And spread the word about this channel. I see my I almost forgot, man. I'm gonna dedicate a video separately for that. But thank you so very much for getting me past 1,000 subscribers. That happened sometime this week. I want to thank you all for that. That is awesome as well. On that note, you guys have a great one.